So hello and welcome everyone. We are a new channel. We're called CouchRacers, and I guess this is our thing now. And I've got Nate over here, top left corner,
What
smiling
up?
away,
As
and
always,
as always. So
as always.
let's get into it.
Let's
So
go.
we are looking at France, Paul Ricard today, and we're going to go through the most recent race. And this is what we're going to go through today. This is going to be the bit of the overview. So let's quickly set us off with the grids. I
Yeah,
think what's hilarious is I think there's a stat that was released not recently. Leclerc and Verstappen have equal number of poles on this season alone, I believe. But when you look at the point difference,
hmm.
it's it's huge, right? So they've actually had equal number of poles. So that kid clearly can put it. We all know Leclerc can put in a really, really good lap when he needs to. He's quick, and that Ferrari obviously he
Yeah.
can deliver the goods as well. Also, really, really happy to see Alonso and Ocon up there still.
Yeah.
I was wondering, will the
Yep.
Alpine start to fade? Like, was it just a couple of a couple of upgrade packages they got right for a couple of tracks, or will it actually sustain itself? And the Alpine, like, it looks like a good car. Like, it genuinely looks like it could be fighting that top end of the midfield, which has been really interesting to see. And again, the Mercedes as well, really, really interesting to see
Yeah.
them getting back up there as well, and just more consistency now as well.
Have you noticed how Gasly's been driving lately? Has there been something going on with Gaz? Because Sonoda's been, I feel like outperforming him recently. Or is that just in my head? Well,
I feel
well, in
like
this grid he has,
Gasly's
but
yeah, I feel like Gasly's taking on the role of like Hamilton with the Mercedes, where he's the more experienced driver, so he's potentially trialing I guess the different setups, etc. But he's been unfortunate in general, man. Like, he just doesn't seem to be able to get that car to work or anything like that.
do you think that he might have, that passion that he had when he first came into AlphaTauri after Red Bull, that push to prove people that he's still a valid F1
Mm.
driver, and that's why he
Oh, I
performed
think
so
everyone
well,
knows him. He's such a
right?
way. He's stuck in such an awkward position where there's no
Yeah.
really like, where does he go from here?
Mm.
Really, so it has to be one of the top teams. I don't think Red Bull's going to take him back, but
Well, if
yeah, Gasly is
Perez is still
unfortunate.
there, yeah, if Perez is going to stay, he's got no spot.
Mm,
Would you think that
yeah,
if Perez left, that he would be the second choice?
I still
Nah.
don't think so. Nah,
Mm.
no, I
Yeah.
think there's too much history between him and Helmut and Christian and whatnot.
He only
Yeah, I
drove.
don't.
I don't know if this is a number that I've picked out of nowhere, but I was watching a video that said that he only had 12 races.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Not even that. Not even that. I
That's
think something.
insane.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
small number. Yeah,
Yeah.
you forget what Red Bull was like during that period, trying to figure
I
out
was
who is the perfect driver after Ricardo, right? Who
mm.
to complement Max, etc.
Yeah,
But anyways,
I joined, Jules. I joined when that was all happening,
yeah, you
right?
did
And so
actually. Yeah, that's
yeah,
true. That's true.
yeah. And I was like, "Oh man, they did my boy Albon dirty." Because I remember you loved Albon,
I do.
and
I still do.
and you still do. But then when they replaced him with Gasly, I was like, "Oh, you can't do that." He just swapped like that.
No.
Um,
Gasly was got
I
replaced
s
by Albon.
sorry.
Yeah, vice versa. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
vice versa. But Albon got replaced by Perez. So
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm, mhm. And I think that's what Red Bull they learned, right? They put two junior category drivers into the Toro, so from Toro Rosso at the time into the Red Bull,
mm,
and ultimately paid the price twice. So they need the mature drive of someone like Perez or Bottas or something, right? Almost that
yeah,
kind of like more senior steward, so to speak, against Max Verstappen, who can handle the technical developments and handle the pressure, and has been there before, etc., and can handle the media. So it's been interesting. It's been an interesting little journey for AlphaTauri and Red Bull.
yeah, for sure. Verstappen has grown so much from his
Mm.
start when he was what 18, 17 to
Hmm.
now. Yeah, insane.
All right.
Yeah.
So lap one, Leclerc clean getaway. Hamilton slips on the outside of Perez.
Mm,
Hamilton slips Perez on the start. Alonso on the outside of Russell very, very quickly, I think within the first couple of corners. McLaren side by side, Ocon tapping Tsunoda, and that's all just lap one. So it was a relatively exciting lap one. For me, Leclerc's clean getaway was a must, at the time when
mm,
I thought not looking too far ahead into the future, but where I thought, who knows, this could be Leclerc's comeback. That was crucial. And Hamilton, again, Riley or Fox, he can still get away really quick with his unique little special like Hamilton clutch through whatever it is that he does. That unique position that only he does. All the other
Yeah,
drivers do it like normal.
he puts his left hand over the top of
And
the steering wheel.
it works for
But
him. That's like 2 or 3 times now on the start. He's completely caught everyone just bang off the mark, right? Really impressive.
yeah,
Um, and Alonso straight away on the outside of Russell, always an amazing start of Alonso. And he shows it there and then on
yeah,
the outside of Russell, straight away, bang, took the spot. So it
yeah,
was a really, really, really good lap one for me.
yeah. I'd say the same. Like Hamilton to me, not only did he have a good start, but the car, man, off lap one, the car has improved, sorry. And Hamilton, I think, is going to be a force to be reckoned with for the rest of the season if they can keep up with everybody else's development and all of that other stuff. But yeah, he's showing true form. I think now that I don't know where he's got this from. I don't know if he just feels more comfortable in the car, but now he's kind of giving Russ a bit of a run for his money because Russ has been Mr. Consistent, right? He's just been doing what he needs to do. He's honestly, to be fair, he's been kind of under the radar for for the way that he's been performing. Like he has been driving so well, but I haven't really noticed how. Like until I look at the points, I'm like, damn, he's so far up the points. He's got like a
Mm,
good chance. But now Hamilton's coming up, and I'm like, I love that. And Perez, the fact that he overtook Perez, I don't know throughout all of free practice. Perez was struggling. So
mhm,
it kind of translated into the race. But the side by
mhm,
side to me as well for McLaren, I'm loving that. I love any time that I call
mhm.
him Ricky all the time, Danny Rick fights against Norris because I want him to show the team that he's still got it because he
Yeah.
hasn't
Yeah, well,
really.
everyone, right? Everyone in the paddock.
Yeah, yeah. I feel bad for him always having to defend himself. I mean, he has to because he hasn't performed, but
Mhm.
we know he's got it. And yeah, that tap on Ocon and Sonoda, you'll know later on. But yeah, that totally changed the race for Sonoda, unfortunately.
It did. It did.
Yeah.
It was it
Yeah.
was it was I felt bad for Ocon because it was his race. He misjudged that curb a bit and it just kind of sent him straight into, so not like, it was a bit ambitious. Probably if he slowed down just a millisecond and then kind of
Yeah.
accelerated out, he probably still would have had the room to do it and then
Uh,
still get it around the next couple of corners. But that kind of ruined his own home Grand Prix, which is, upsetting. And Tsunoda, bless him, like I want that kid to have a good year. And if I feel like the year he finally gets his act together a little bit is one
mm.
of the hardest years AlphaTauri goes through in terms of like development and the kind of philosophies it's applied, etc. So
I just
I feel bad.
I just think that Sonoda, I'd love to know what he said on the radio. I don't know. I don't know if it's out there, sorry, on F1, what his
You
response
can
was.
listen to all the radios, I think. Yeah, yeah.
No, but like, was there one specifically when Sonoda got hit? Because he would have been off his rocker, I reckon.
Well, he's been working with, and he said it quite openly. He's been working with like a anger
A therapist or some sort,
psychologist. Yeah,
right?
yeah, therapist. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, to help him. And he honestly, the radio they played, he seemed quite like, yep, got knocked. Check the car, and just kind of carried on. So I was like, fair enough. Maybe it's working, but I didn't
Maybe he's
listen to
just
his whole
having
radio.
some chamomile tea before the race or something, calm him down a bit.
Yeah,
He's like a little pocket rocket, man. Like when he first started, he'd just be yelling at like if I started in F1, I got a chance to drive in the F1. I would not
that's
talk
what
to
made him so
my
amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I know. He's a character, but I would not be talking to my engineers and my team the way he has when he started.
No.
No
Oh,
way.
yeah. And at
I'll be
such a
like,
young age as well,
yeah. I'll be
you
like,
know?
thanks for letting me drive, guys. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. That's why we're not F1 drivers, mate.
I know. You gotta be more vicious, I guess.
So
But
I
yeah,
think
what a
from
great lap.
yeah, so I think for me from lap 1 till about after that, lap 16-ish, it was really boring. Like really boring. And that was it. I was like, this is it? Like I actually had a little bit of hope for Paul Ricard. I know it's not normally the best of tracks, but I thought potentially with the cars being able to follow better, and
Mm.
like the big wide angles and stuff, like in the sectors, you might be able to shave off a little bit of time and get yourself like nice and close. And there were some good overtakes, but from lap 1 to 16, I think in between it was so boring. I started falling asleep, and then it started getting better.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, not
worse
for
for
you.
me.
Yeah, not for
Worse.
you.
I'll just kind of just tuck that away.
No, you pick it
And
up again. Don't worry. When
yeah,
next week when he wins, oh, I'm gonna pick it up. That's I forgot that. Yeah, I didn't mean to drop that. Sorry.
you never know. You never know. You never know.
um, but yeah, no, you're right, man. Like from lap 16 now. On lap 16, this is when Verstappen, first of the leaders, pitted for his first, pitted first for hard tires. This is
Mm,
where I was like a bit I was so confused, and I got a feeling, right? And I don't know, it just felt like something wasn't going right for Ferrari because they didn't react. And I was like, wait, could be one of two things. One, they know what they're doing and the strategy is going to
mm,
work, or
no.
two, they're just screwing it up again. But we didn't
Meh.
know yet. We didn't know yet. But yeah, so they didn't respond to Verstappen coming in.
Hmm. I I agree. Something felt different. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like Austria, where like he's like, okay, I kind of see the strategy they're playing at, etc. It almost felt like they went indecisive again. You could almost feel like they're like, okay, what do we go long and use the clean air that we had? Which I this is what I understand. In many ways, it was a very similar strategy to Austria. They had the opportunity, right? Which is basically they forced, but kind of vice versa. Max had to pit, so they had all this opportunity of clean air afterwards, which really obviously Leclerc was trying to make the most of it. But then there was that long kind of delay of hesitation. Like you can almost hear their hesitation that they're not confident with their plan and they're still playing it ear by ear, just a little bit. Like even the way that, like the drivers and the team are communicating back to each other, it's always almost like questions and like I don't. It's not as directive as Red Bull or Mercedes or even McLaren, right? Where like they're being actually even McLaren can be quite passive sometimes, but I don't know. The opportunity for the strategy was there, and it felt like they were still playing the guessing game. And then, sure enough, lap 18, turn 11, Leclerc, which I think we all were a bit confused. Was it the throttle again because of the way the team radio played? But lo and behold, I think Jolyn Palmer and the race did a few good analysis on it, and it was a genuine. Even though Leclerc himself has admitted it, it has been proven again that it was a genuine mistake by Leclerc. He basically just got a little bit too greedy with the amount of corner speed that he carried around the corner, and then that was it. Rear gave out, and into the tires he goes.
Yeah, that was my question. Like, because the crash, they switched the camera straight to the crash, but then you couldn't see who the crash was. And then we replayed it, and then I saw how he spun out, and it looked like to me. And I remember seeing this as they showed the crash, or as he lost control. The radio from Ferrari came on, and the engineer was like, "Oh, make sure you keep, take care of the
Oh
tires."
yeah,
Do you remember that?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
found that hilarious. But anyway, he spun out, and it did look like to me that the rear tires were still spinning. So I thought maybe the throttle got stuck, legit.
Oh, genuinely stuck. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just thought, and the way that he reacted when he was talking to them, and he yelled out something about, "Oh, I can't." I couldn't let go of the throttle or something like that, and then he yells out no. To me, that no was so piercing, man. I
Yeah.
felt that
Yeah.
for him.
Haunting. Yeah.
Oh, it was so haunting. I just couldn't stop thinking about, how many memes they're going to be about that thing. But I felt for him. But yeah, like you said, after the interview, I mean, sorry, after the race, or even during the race, they interviewed him and he said that it was his fault. And I was just like, wait, is this a directive from Ferrari to say, remember that last time he got finger pointed?
Yeah. 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 The Binotto finger.
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, is it the same thing? Telling him you can't talk bad
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
Ferrari, and I was just like, man, if that's the case, man, that's not good. But it sounds like it's not, and it sounds like it was just his error.
I mean,
But
that's the problem, right? The fact that we're even taking these things into consideration really shows how skeptical everyone is towards like the internal team dynamics and like even as fans, how little trust there is in Ferrari. right? Like
Especially
just
you. The question should be to
in
you
general.
because you're the passionate fan. How do you feel about Ferrari? Is the
Just
question.
hollow. Just so hollow.
Yeah.
So hollow. But I guess if I was to be really, really, really constructive about it, you could argue Ferrari hasn't even been like this is the first time Ferrari really had a shot at a championship for about God knows, going back to the Kimi Raikkonen days, maybe. Because
Hmm.
up until then, even with Vettel and Raikkonen, they never really challenged properly. Like there was a sniff at it, and I'm sure there'll be
Yeah.
loads of people who tell me I'm totally wrong, and maybe I am, but I feel like it wasn't the same as this opportunity and challenge, and it's almost like Ferrari's dusty. They've forgotten how to be a championship winning team, and then you look at Red Bull, who's come off the back of um, basically taking down the heavyweight 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, like that would be a very, very tight unit. Like that would be a very highly operating machine. So I guess in one ways, I wouldn't say understand it, but you could almost empathize that this is a very new situation that found them in, and potentially this isn't the team to win a championship. Potentially then there's going to be a bit of new blood. Maybe technically, this was the team to bring them to the design of the car that they arrived to today. But maybe as behavioral, is this the team that can win the championship with the behaviors, right? Which is really that, tenacity, that championship focus, like high performing, like, top of the cloud, 0% of oxygen kind of team that, that Mercedes, the Red Bulls of the team, technically maybe they had a great team, but you know, maybe it's only the CTO side of it or the technical side of it can only get them so far.
I 100% agree, and I know exactly what you're talking about when you're saying that they're not up to standard. To me, they're like when I think about Mercedes and for sorry, Mercedes and Red Bull. When I think about the engineer team, the strategy team, and just everybody around there, they're like switched on. They know what they got to do. They know how to play. They know how to sit down, buckle up, and actually do the work. Whereas for me, Ferrari's a bit of a I don't know. I just keep thinking about clowns at a circus where they're just frantic
Oh,
and they don't know how to handle themselves in really
yeah,
like high pressure situations. They're a team that's
yeah,
been winning. They've won like championships in the past. Yeah, that's fine. They got busted for cheating
hmm
in between then and now. And then, now they're just probably still kind of getting the, and because they've got a culture, and you've told me this before, they've got a culture that's different to everybody else, right? It's that
The
whole
Ferrari
Italian.
culture is unique, as said by
Yeah.
Alonso. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And they don't like other people telling them how to do things, I'm guessing. And they're very probably pretty stubborn. And so I think that it kind of shows in the way that they work, like the way that the races have gone so far. And I see that every time I hear the engineer from Ferrari, I do not trust what they say. Even the fact that Sainz had to tell him that it wasn't a 5 second stop and go penalty.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
Like,
mm,
um, yeah, that shows a lot. And yeah,
It
but
is. It
anyway,
is.
I feel sorry for
It is
you because
disappointing.
that's your team.
It is. It is. I mean, yeah. It's.
Even Haas
It's.
is doing better, man. I feel like Haas in general have stepped up their game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're a mid pack
I guess that's
competitor now.
comparable as well, right? These are two teams that intentionally took a back seat and basically threw away a season and a half each, more or less, probably
Who?
to Haas and Ferrari. They're both two teams that I guess are quite comparable in some way, right? Yes and no, but they're two teams that intentionally took a back seat for
Hmm.
1.5, 2 years, so 1.5 seasons, basically, almost 2 seasons,
True. Yep.
where they sat
Before
down
this,
and
yeah.
went, you know what, we're gonna just allow these seasons. We're gonna forget about these seasons completely, and we're gonna focus on the development for when the new regulations come in. I know loads of F1 teams took a similar approach, but not the same way as Ferrari and Haas have done. And now, if you compare them, Haas is doing a much Could you say they're
The-
doing a much better job?
They're doing like not in performance, obviously, because they don't have the
Yeah,
money for
but
it. But
within
they've,
within relative
yeah,
relative
yeah,
scales, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
in scale and the same baseline. If you're going to put them in the same baseline, they're definitely doing better,
Mhm,
especially from just the strategy side of things.
mhm,
And that's just
mhm.
they're doing this base standard of what like what a F1 team should be doing. It's just Ferrari's way down here, man.
But I
They,
guess you
they,
could argue that the reason why is because 'cause they're in the midfield. It's so much harder when you're at the top and you're expected to win, right? If I was to be,
mm,
like, equal on both sides, so to
yeah,
speak,
yeah, I see where you're coming from, but they
it
still
is
need to
hard.
fix up their strategy.
But I agree,
Like,
I do, I agree. I agree that Haas is performing really well and the bounce back really well. Like,
mm.
the bounce back has been I mean, yeah, is it even comparable? The more I think about it, I'm like, can you compare it? But
You
yeah,
could, but
okay.
yeah, it depends. But anyway, there is something that there's, the pit stops. Can you like in lap 18? What's that going? What's happening there? So there was a pit stop with Hamilton, Perez, Russell, Alonso, and
So
then
they all pitted.
yeah.
Yep.
But you did we say that Russell there was a slow pit for us?
Yeah, so basically lap 18 came in, obviously Leclerc crash triggered the full safety car. And Hamilton, Perez, Russell, and Alonso all pit basically back to back, bang, 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 bang. Russell actually ended up having a slower stop because Mercedes had a slow stop for Hamilton, which then meant
Mm,
when they double
yeah,
stacked,
yeah.
Russell had a slow release, which kind of changed the order a little bit. But what was interesting
Mm,
is lo and behold, Sainz comes in at lap 19, which potentially was his earliest opportunity, or could he have made it lap 18? I'm not sure, if I'm honest. But comes into the pits and instantly an unsafe release. And when we actually watched back all the video footage and Joel and
mm,
Palmer did like analysis on it, there was hesitation between the front and the back jackman and the actual red light never. You know how they have green light? It's the signalman
yeah,
who pushes the green light manually
yeah,
now
yeah.
to indicate safe release. He actually Carlos Sainz went on the red light because the jackman came back in for a millisecond in front of him and then kind of went and then walked away. So it looked like it had been a
Mm.
release, but he actually went on the red light, which obviously wasn't a clean release, which has pushed him straight into the Williams of Albon, I believe,
But
who had to lock
Albon,
up.
if it is Albon, he missed him by the smallest margin.
Yeah. Or he
Did
locked
you?
up completely. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know he
And
locked up, but he
the
missed
McLaren
him.
guy as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But he missed him. I saw that. Like Albon reacted so quickly to avoid that. But if he didn't,
Mhm.
definitely damage. Definitely
It was
damage.
going in. And the
Crazy.
McLaren guy with the tire had to pull it out of the way just as
I saw that.
Signs
I
released as
saw
well. Yeah,
that.
so
Yeah.
it was a real no-brainer, like
Yeah.
unsafe release. But again, like Ferrari in these situations, when you look at all of it, it's you can just see small moments of indecision and hesitation where like none of them really know what is their
Yep.
like who's in charge to solve the issue. I don't even know if
Spot
that's
on, mate. Yeah. Who's
yeah,
in charge? Yeah.
yeah. It's like they're all
Ah.
left there wondering with their I don't know pizzas in their hand or something. Um, and then lap 20, Tsunoda retires, obviously, because the damage he'd taken from Ocon earlier
Yeah.
and
It
how
was
far
too
back he
much.
was. That was it.
Yeah. I saw the damage. Did you see
It
it?
was decent. Yeah, there was all
Yeah.
the side pods, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like completely sunk in.
Hmm.
Arrows. See you later.
Hmm.
So that's fair.
Lap 30 onwards, right? Like you can see, I think Signs is on the mediums by now. And he's
Mm,
performing. Like the mediums are definitely performing for him. So he's obviously the overtake on Russell was a bit more difficult than probably he expected because Russell's a really really good driver, and
mm.
it took him definitely a couple more laps for sure. But you could see from that moment on, or at least I thought the mediums were working for that Ferrari, and they've got all the data, but it just from watching him drive, it didn't seem like they're degrading too much. You know what I mean? Like it didn't seem to be degrading or performing as bad as the hards. People who were coming out in the hards, well, they were sliding so much more throughout
Was
the
Russ
whole
on the
race, I'd
hards?
say.
Was Russ on the hards at this stage?
I believe Russell was on the hards.
So
Yeah.
he pitted back there, and so Science had Science struggled to overtake Russell on mediums, and he was on hards. Wow, okay, that just shows how good of a driver Russell is.
Yeah. But
Mm,
also like you could then see, like, very quickly, lap 38, 8 laps later, I think I can't remember what the gap was, but it was significant. Signs closed up within less than 1 second of Perez. So again, the
Mm,
mediums are showing like that they're working. Like he's
mm,
closing the gaps. Everyone else ahead of him is on the hards. For some reason, the hards are degrading pretty quickly, right? Compared to what I think everyone was thinking. And Signs is kind of proving just by
mm.
sticking your head outside of the grid wall for 2 seconds instead of just being in the data, you can see your drivers like making grounds. But lo and behold, box, whilst he's literally battling Perez. Like, how much more embarrassing for Ferrari does it have to get? It's kind of like that moment where, like, you fall over in front of everyone in school and everyone's already laughing, and then you stand up and try to like walk it off, and then you fall over again. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's like. Like, it's like, how
Uh,
much more embarrassment can you bring upon yourself?
yeah.
And for him to be like, no, not now. Like, how are they not even aware that he's making the moves on Perez? Like,
Uh,
I just can't understand it.
zoom
And
in for
again,
me, Jules. Zoom in for me. Zoom in for me. Right there, under lap 40, 41. Ferrari pit not paying attention to battle with Perez. Like that is the question. Even Crofty. If when Crofty's always like he's always chill. He's in the middle. He's not for or against, right?
he's
For him
neutral.
to call out Ferrari to say, "Aren't you watching?"
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a big
yeah,
deal. That's a big
yeah.
deal. Yeah, so I'm with you there. I'm with you there. I was shaking my head and thinking about you the whole time. I'm like, man,
Oh,
it just happens again and again and again. It's like they can't catch a break.
honestly, I wasn't even shouting anymore. Like, normally I get upset and you're shouting at the TV.
Yeah, you
I
can't.
was so upset I wasn't even shouting anymore. I was just sitting just like this, just like watching, just like shaking my head
Yeah.
in just disgust and disappointment. But
Mm,
yeah. But again, like, you can see, this is what I don't understand, and we'll get to it in a second. You can see the mediums are working, and despite what you predicted in the data, stick your head outside the pit box, and you can literally see your driver is making significant ground. And then
yeah.
immediately, again, reconfirmed because Perez is under pressure from Russell. Again,
Yeah.
so confirmed, like, Perez was struggling no matter what. So that would have been the easy win. So why then box him?
Yeah. And not only
Why do they
that,
call him
Jules,
into the pits on lap 43 when he just did it in 42 at 41?
it's not even that. Oh, sorry, it is that, and also the fact that there was enough of a gap that if he was to stay out and get that 5 second penalty, that he would still make third or fourth. I think it was fourth. He would
Mm-hmm.
still be up
Mm-hmm.
fourth because of this the gap between
Mm-hmm.
uh the person behind him was big enough, and so that's why
Mm-hmm.
everybody was so confused. It's like, are they looking at the right numbers? Because it just doesn't make any sense. Even Science
Yeah.
was a bit confused. He just pitted because you know
Well, he
he
even said it on the team radio and the post race interview. He
yeah.
kind of, again, questioned briefly the strategy call, but then towed the company line. I was like, oh, but they have so much more data than me. So I guess if they say it's the right decision, it's the right decision. When really, like, any 13 to 14-year old who's ever played F1 with their friends would know that was not the right decision.
And to Science defense, he didn't have he can't see the gaps, right? And so he's under the impression that they've got all the numbers right in their side. There's got to be some sort of confidence there, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
I think Science's confidence in his team is just it's at an all-time
Oh,
low.
and
Yeah.
when looking backwards, probably if you ever, I don't know if they do, but if they do watch like the highlights or like they watch the race back, just as a part of the review, they'll see
Mhm.
very clearly probably the risk reward was greater to stay out there with the mediums, potentially get a bit of a tire blowout, maybe, but to be honest, didn't look like it. And Gasly did it. Gasly finished the race on old mediums that should have been worn and torn much more. So much so that I believe he started closing up to the Astons. I don't know if it was Vettel. No, it was Vettel. He
Mm.
started closing up to Vettel towards the end. So again,
Yeah,
why not risk
yeah.
it? Why not risk it?
Oh man, I
Like,
okay
you've
now.
got nothing to lose. You've already got a champion out. Like, you got, like,
Well,
go for
Jules,
it.
I will say this that I actually never thought about that. If Gasly did that, the difference there, I reckon, is the fact that Science would have been pushing way more in the fight
You
with
reckon?
Perez, in the fight with Russell, yeah. Then so his tire deg would have been way more than what I think Gasly. I'm thinking here, I didn't watch Gasly's race, right? But what I'm thinking Gasly would have experienced in his side. If they
In the
risked
cleaner,
him
yeah,
staying out,
yeah.
then if there was a blowout, say there was, imagine
Mhm.
that. Imagine there was a blowout, leaving him
What people
out.
would say. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Oh, I don't know. I feel like people would be more understanding. Oh, maybe I don't
like
know.
the fact
Probably
what
not. We're all
what
cynics. We're all bastards.
yeah, it's hindsight, right? But I just thought about that, and it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, at the time when I was watching the race, I was like, "Stay out!
Mhm, mhm.
Why?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
stay out!" And about
Take
that
the
time, I've
risk.
lost all confidence in them anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think
Box,
I
box.
think everyone has. Even the commentators are just lost for words, trying to figure out how do we
Yeah,
not shit all over the number one team that's been in every single F1 sport since the dawn of time, but also call them out for their absolute stupidity.
so true.
So then,
Uh,
lap 42. What did you think about Russell's dive bomb?
absolutely wrong. Okay, no, no,
Yeah,
no. I
okay,
can't say that. No, I can't say that. I can't say that because when I watched the replay,
but you did.
I no, I did watch. I watched the replay and I watched how because what his argument was in the new rules is that as long as your front tire is
Hmm.
equal or in front of the back, then you've got
Hmm.
right of like
Hmm.
you've got space, or you should have be given space. But the way that, in my opinion, the way that Russell went in and he dive bombed,
The
right?
angle. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he dive bombed so quickly that when Perez turned, when he saw him, there was no space for him to go after that. There's only
Hmm.
so much you can react to. So when he turned, he saw him coming in and cutting him off. There's
Hmm.
nothing but grass and sort of that curb. So he went off into the drive off. So
Hmm.
for me, for him to argue that, that's what annoyed me the most is that he was arguing for Perez to give the spot back. I go, mate, no, like that's not fair.
Hmm.
And if and you'll probably talk to this, but the pit wall and Toto, he got on there
Toto.
as well. Yeah, he got on there and said, look, we didn't have. Oh, actually, it was his engineer that goes, hey, look, Russell, we didn't have that. Um,
Yeah,
we went ahead. We went ahead. And
yeah.
he's like, oh no, this and that. But anyway, I don't think I don't think he gave him room, and I think Perez had the right to do what he did. But how about
I
you?
think tech technical reading of the rules, probably he's correct. Like if you were to read it technical by technical, like this
Yeah,
must meet this. But in terms of like sportsmanship or gamesmanship of the rules, like you can't dive bomb in and they'd be like, he didn't leave me space when literally like there's no other angle for him to go other than the
yeah,
runoff. I think it's yes, you're right in the rules, but there has to be some sort of intelligence to
yeah,
like the opportunity you're then leaving the other person, right? It can't just be like a full send it Max Verstappen. But you could argue last year Max did this God knows how many times and got away with it against Hamilton. But
that's a
new
very
year,
good
new
point.
rules, etc., etc. So
It's a very good
what's
point.
the difference, right? What's the difference?
Yeah,
But
very good point. Maybe
it's
just because
interesting.
he
It's interesting.
Verstappen does it to Hamilton so much last year, but Hamilton's just that good of a driver that he can get out of it.
Well, I
But-
mean, he did in many cases, but that's the thing. Like that was the driving style, and then Hamilton started doing it back to Verstappen, and that was the creed for that year, right? And now it's changed, and I think again, correct technical interpretation of the rules, but incorrect application of it, like so to speak. Like the angle he came in, everything. Like I don't think it was correct. So I agree with that. I'm glad they didn't dish out penalties or anything like that. I thought that would have been really annoying, or if the stewards got involved or whatever, that would have been really annoying. So I'm glad they stayed away from it and just let them race. Um, and then lap 43, Sainz comes in after successfully overtaking Perez, sits there for 5 seconds, and then serves the longest pit lane known to mankind, and is expected with 7 laps to go because it's a 50-lap race.
Is it a
To
51 lap race?
sorry, 51 was it? Yeah, I think you are correct. 51, yeah, 51-lap race to overtake and do everything he did again and then some.
Yeah,
Impossible.
he would have been so
Impossible.
pissed off.
Yeah.
All that ground he made, yeah. And to your point, it was a bloody long pit lane. 28
Mhm.
seconds on
More,
average.
more.
More. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
Imagine that.
With his penalty, it was more. It was like I think it was like
Oh no, yeah,
32
yeah, yeah.
something seconds that he ended up serving or whatever.
Yeah, but on average for everybody, right?
Yeah,
The
on
the
average. Yeah,
idea is
correct.
20 something. Yeah. Well, that's before I think they extended it, right? They extended the amount of time you have to be on a limiter
Hmm.
before you can jump onto
Hmm.
accelerator, right? Yeah. I wonder why they did that. Was that for safety? Well,
Probably
maybe.
always is. I think
Yeah.
anything they ever do in a
Makes
pit
sense.
lane is for safety. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
And what did you think about Russell's restart and Perez saying it was a malfunction of the communication system from the FIA with the VSC restart? Did you hear about that?
No, is that why?
Well, I don't know. So basically, the FIA, lo and behold, right? Like you can see what Russell did was really smart, keeping that
So we're
gap
talking. Wait, wait,
distance
wait. Before
back.
you go on, we're talking about Perez's start,
Restart from
and
the
Russ's
virtual safety
overtake,
car,
right? Yeah.
lap
Okay.
51. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're here,
All right. All right.
and I think what you could see what Russell was doing, which was kind of like he was edging back, opening up the delta, so that he could then kind of stream forward, close that delta gap just beyond the limit of it, just as the safety car restart came, and it worked like an absolute dime. And you could see him doing it from way back. But also Perez looked almost half asleep, like he just
No,
like
he's watched.
car was
Yeah.
kind of wandering in the middle of the track, like it's almost like he was distracted by something or whatever. And it could be that maybe it was the way the VSC information was being relayed for him was disrupted versus Mercedes. But apparently they all get the exact same message. And then it's
At the
up to the
same time.
team to then
Oh,
communicate
right.
how that message works, right? So potentially there was the way the Red Bull team was communicating to Perez disrupted his thinking, and for Russell was much more straightforward, right? Because you can see the benefit because he jumped him real quick,
Yeah. Yeah.
real smart, and he was gone. He
He flew
scarpered.
through him.
Yeah.
Can so you're saying to me that the FIA will tell the teams information about the VSC, and then the teams will relay it back to the drivers, right?
So all the teams get the exact same message from the FIA.
Yeah. What about does the FIA directly contact the drivers? There should be like a I don't know, this is just my opinion. When it comes to safety cars and things that in
Yeah.
general that happen across the whole track, if there's a
Yeah.
message, there should be like one message, like a message that
It appears on
overtake.
their dash and stuff. Yeah.
Ah, okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it appears on that, but it's very simple messages. So
yeah,
the
of course,
detailed messages of like, oh, we're probably thinking it's going to safety car restart at this point, at this corner in this many seconds. That's the kind of detailed messages you'll be getting from your engineer. So
mm,
apparently there was an actual glitch in the restart system from the FIA,
hmm
which is not uncommon, but at the same time not common, so to speak. So it does happen, but not as much. But it's not something they're not accustomed to, right?
hmm hmm
And then how they deal with that is obviously the impact it has on the driver, and potentially Perez was pushing too many buttons or listening to too much information and didn't really realize what was happening. And Russell just had that perfect direct line. He kind of weaved it just so he had that almost perfect straight through line. And as soon as he went bang, as soon as that safety car restart went, he
Yeah, I
was
saw
on the
that.
throttle almost like 1.5 seconds before Perez could even reacted, right?
I did think
And I
that
thought it was
Perez had a
clean.
good. I thought Perez had a good chance though. Like he was chasing Russell right up until
Mm.
the end. I thought
Yeah, I
maybe.
didn't think he would do it.
Oh, you didn't?
I
I was
think
like,
that
I'm
was no, no,
hoping.
no.
I really
No, I
want
was
to check her to
convinced.
get a. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, Russell's a
Russell's very
solid
good at
driver.
defense. He is. That's the thing. That's the thing. He's
Mm,
no schmuck to overtake. So
yeah.
it's it was good to see. And then lo and behold, signed obviously fastest lap. I'm glad he did that. But winner Max Verstappen, who I think was
We did.
genuinely disappointed. I think Verstappen was really disappointed that Leclerc went out. I think he was genuinely enjoying that race with Leclerc. That kind of like battle of like trying to keep it within windows and like seeing who could
They say that, mate.
maintain,
Do
etc.
not
You
believe
could hear
it.
it. You could hear it. Nah,
Nah,
you could hear it in his
mate.
team radio. He was bummed out.
Nah, nah, nah. When it
You don't
comes to
think?
winning, nah, man. That's all for
Oh,
show, bro.
I'm
That's all
sure
for
he's
show.
glad
If you take
he's
the
won,
win,
but
you take
yeah,
the win when you get the win, man. That's his fault. He drove it's his driving, his driving skill that that caused that crash, then it's on him, man. If I was Max Verstappen, I'd be like, yeah, that sucked. I really wanted a good race, but inside I'd be like, hell yeah, baby, more points for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Another mill in the bag.
yeah,
He's
another
getting
mil.
definitely paid out.
Oh mate, yeah. Anyway, so congrats, Max.
Yeah, congrats, man. A worthy win. A worthy win. It's
Yeah,
a shame. It's a shame it went down the way it did, but
mm.
and you know, is is there even a championship fight now on the hands? I
There will
would
be, mate.
say even so there's a stat, right? Even if and this is from WTF1, even if Max Verstappen coming back to the season break came
Mm.
second for every single race and Leclerc won every single race, first, and Verstappen was second, he would still win the championship.
Oh, okay, but you got to
Mhm.
consider, man. Rain.
I know
You
there's a lot
consider
of
no
things,
point,
DNFs, engine problems. We don't know
mate.
what's going to happen with the
Nah,
budget cap and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's uh, it's looking like a bit of a pipe dream.
yeah, but nah. I hope so. I hope
Me
that
too. Me too.
there's a battle.
You know, I'm putting this back on.
Oh, I thought you threw it away. See, I told
No,
you.
never. It's
So let's look at the race results, shall we?
we shall walk me through it.
Mate, look at the. It's a little bit better than last race where the gaps were so big, but yeah, we've got Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell. Wow, a 1-2, like a 1-2 from Mercedes. That must have made them feel so, so confident. Built, like, it boosted their confidence in terms of how they're going to go
Mhm.
this year. That's what I mean, man. From the very start, from lap one to that result, awesome. And I'm just glad that Hamilton's ahead of Russell.
Mhm.
You can tell I'm not a big fan of Russell, but I'm a fan of Hamilton, and I do like Mercedes. But good on Perez as well to kind of be there. Yeah, um,
Yeah.
be there up there
Um.
with them as well.
So I think special mention to Carlos Sainz, driver of the day, his own strategist and F1 driver. You know, it's he's wearing many hats in that team at the moment. Um. I'm really happy to see the McLarens in the points again.
Me
But
too.
specifically, just Ricardo just clear next to Norris. Yes, it's not like he should be above Norris, but he hasn't been. So I'm just happy that he's literally within the mix. You know, if that just keeps building, hopefully, you know, over the summer break and he comes back with a bit of momentum. Albon, really good race as well, I think. And also both Aston Martins to see them up there, no matter what, like you got to give them credit. I think Vettel
Alonso,
deserved 10th more than yeah, Alpines,
come
obviously
on,
Alonso
look
and
at that,
Ocon for sure in the top six.
look
But
at
Alonso's
that,
been driving, for me,
so
that's
well.
no surprise. Alonso's been driving at that level the whole time from the moment he came back. It's the car and all these other things that have just been unfortunately messing him up. Ocon been very consistent and is just ahead, I believe, of Alonso in the championship. But
Mm.
I think Alonso's been driving better than Ocon for sure.
Oh yeah,
Um,
but
and
they're both high level. Yeah,
I think Vettel deserved the points instead of Stroll. Stroll did a bit of dirty driving, but I was really upset about the um, about Bottas and Zoe as well. I thought they might have had a better race,
yeah.
which was a bit disappointing.
Bottas was
And both
like
has.
yeah. I feel like Bottas has not been driving very well over the last couple of races, but at the beginning of the season he was.
Hmm.
Yeah, a bit of a downer there. And Schumi, like I mean, I don't know if you're going to say this because I cut you off, but um, Schumi and Magnussen. I mean, I feel real bad for Magnussen. There were if
He had an
before that
amazing start.
before the safety car, they were on track to be in the mid, right, or in the point, sorry, and yeah, I think they just pitted, and then the safety car came out, and then they got screwed over.
Yeah,
That's what I remember. But I just remember it was because of the safety car that their whole strategy got thrown out and couldn't come back,
everything.
unfortunately.
Yeah. You get screwed by the safety car, but they had a really good. I mean, Magnussen had an amazing start. I think he took from 20th by lap one. He was from 20th. He was 12th by the end of lap one, which is
Wow.
8 places, which is really
Actually,
impressive.
actually, I did watch
Yeah.
that start. I watched
It's good,
Magnussen
isn't it?
start. Yeah, he just took
Yeah,
everybody over. Yeah, yeah, it
mate,
was great.
amazing. It was a good
Yeah,
start.
there was a fight between him and Shumi at the end there. It was really good to
Almost,
see.
yeah, it was actually, yeah. And they
Yeah.
almost actually took each other out. Did you
Well,
see
I
that? As
think
they were both side by side, they almost like
yeah,
whipped
yeah,
into
but
each other.
that's just correcting, right? It's not like you're trying to hit each other. You're just
Oh
trying to
man,
keep the
no, no,
line.
no. Of course, they're not trying to hit
Yeah,
each other, but
I think that's just battle. Like I think that kind of back and forth like that, where there's a few sharp turns, but overall, that you can tell that the power was equal. It was just a great comparison
yeah,
to the
it
two,
was
just to
good.
see the
Whoops.
skill. But obviously, Magnussen came up on top.
Yeah,
So what's next? We
sorry,
got penalties.
sorry about that. I was about
No,
to go
man. Yeah,
penalties. So Tsunoda and obviously sending. So who was that? Ocon and Zoe
yeah,
getting penalized there for sending Tsunoda and Schumacher into a spin. Both 5 second
yeah.
penalties.
Salt Bay, just seasoning them
Salt
up.
Bay, yeah,
Yeah,
still
adding salt to the
season those
wound.
penalties.
Yes.
The Russell.
Disinfect those wounds, baby. What do we got?
So we're in the standings. Yeah. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
that point difference now is looking real bad.
Although, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth. So from Lewis Hamilton to up to Leclerc,
There's
very
not much
good
in it.
spread.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah.
even if Max wins, and like you said, there's a good chance he might. That battle there is gonna be real juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it. Look at them. Look at him. It's
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton, Russell, Sainz, Perez, Leclerc. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised. I'm actually really surprised right now how close Perez is to Leclerc. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's only
Which
7 points.
you could either praise Perez or feel sorry for Leclerc. I don't know which way you
Yeah.
want to look at it.
Yeah, it's true.
But
Hey,
yeah,
man.
Russell's still spot 5. Perez still top 3, which is fantastic. And again, it could be a 1-2 and constructors for Red Bull. Could have 1-2 in the driver standings and win the constructors. That'd be an amazing feat
Hmm.
for Red Bull. Um, correct me if
Wish.
wrong. I don't even know when the last time they did that is. I don't even think they did that during the Vettel and Weber days.
Hmm.
Did they? After I can't remember.
I don't know. But can I just say for Mick Schumacher, who had 0 points at the start,
Yeah,
like he's never
is
earned
is
points.
climbing his way up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mate, he's got 12 guys. Like
yeah,
Vettel's only at 15, so no, good on him.
yeah.
Magnussen though on 22. Wow.
Magnussen doing well. Yeah, he's doing well.
Yeah.
He's doing well. Magnussen. They're good point scoring the Hasses recently, which has been really good. Imagine if Schumacher was up there a little bit closer. Haas could be maybe even fighting the McLarens.
Oh, you
That
mean
would have. Who
fighting
would have thought?
Ricardo?
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? But again, man, that's why they took that time and not spend any money last year and just focus on developing the
Yeah,
car. So that's good. It's good that they're showing that. Wow, there we go. 396 for Red Bull.
yeah.
Wow.
So the
Wow, look at that
constructors for
gap.
me, yeah, it's.
Wow.
I think third. It's going to be basically second, third for Ferrari, potentially racing Mercedes to see who can get second or third, and then really it's between Alpine and McLaren to finish off the rest, and then everything beyond that. Like, what do we really got? AlphaTauri versus Haas versus Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo is kind of somewhere in the middle, kind of drifting along against the
Mm,
McLaren. McLaren Alpine, I think, is going to be a really fun battle. I think that'll be a really good
mm,
battle if that heats up a lot as well. And as
yeah.
towards we get to
Um,
the end of the championship.
hmm Yeah, I'm with you there. Aston Martin just dropping. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
until they get their new site built, potentially. I don't know how many years
It's going
that's
to be
going
a
to take.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did read something today that Vettel, he has said that the plan is so far that he's going to stay, but he
Mm-hmm.
goes, we haven't we haven't
Let's
finalized the
see.
plan. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't trust
I don't
anything
know.
anyone says.
Yeah, I don't either, but I don't see, and this is just my opinion, that I don't think Vettel or Aston Martin is the home for Vettel. It's
Mm-hmm.
not where I don't see him there.
Mm. And he,
If
he, he did
anything, yeah.
seem
Yeah.
quite upset about Stroll when
Yeah.
Stroll kind of cut him off, like raised his hand at him and stuff, and
Yeah. It's like, well, what are
probably
you
probably
doing?
probably sucks having to listen to that kid whinge and bitch and moan. We are planning to do this hopefully for every single race. The next one coming up is Hungary. We'll have our little board set up, but we're going to be adding things and changing things. So if there's anything you guys would want to see here, let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe. But really, this is just for fun. Couch Racers.
Peace.
Peace. Thanks, everyone.